Hello and welcome to Merlin's Manor. Today I'm going to be showing you how to play the Slayer at Falconwood for Final Girl. Now for the Slayer, you're going to start out by setting up this dimensional tracker card here with the Final Girl token in our dimension. Whenever a special victim is added to the board, you're going to add them to our dimension, and if ever you or a special victim is moved into the mirror dimension, you're just going to move the tracker for that person to mirror dimension, and whenever you come back to our dimension just like that. You're going to set up a gray meeple, which represents a victim in the mirror dimension on your space, as well as the furthest space that is an exit from the killer, which these two are tied. We're just going to go ahead and place that one right there. You're also going to set up 2 open a rift cards in your tableau for purchase. And that is the setup for the Slayer. The Slayer is a special killer who is in this dark, dreary mirror dimension, and he can only move in that mirror dimension unless a card says otherwise or an effect says otherwise. Victims in our dimension are represented by the yellow meeples, and the gray meeples represent the mirror victims. You can move as normally in both dimensions. However, only victims in your current dimension will follow you. And so right now we are in our dimension, only the yellow meeples will follow us. If we were to play an open a rift card and move into the mirror dimension, then only the gray meeples will follow us. And you can save meeples by being on an exit space, but you must come back to our dimension before you can do that. You can come back to our dimension at any time that you choose during your action phase, except while in the middle of performing an action. So if we had a move of 2 and we wanted to save this person, we would have to decide to forego the extra movement, come back into our dimension, and save them, unless we had decided to go ahead and do that before we played the action card there. And so you have to be on our dimension to save them. Whenever you come back to our dimension, you can bring as many mirror dimension victims as you want to that are on your space, so you can bring them all back into our dimension, and then you can save them. All these search spaces are in both our dimension and in the mirror dimension, so you can search them freely from either dimension. And any tokens on spaces and location effects in general apply to both dimensions unless the dimension is specified. If a token or location effect targets a victim on a space and there are victims in both our dimension as well as the mirror dimension, then victims in our dimension will be targeted first unless the mirror dimension victims are specifically targeted. Now, whenever you see this symbol, you are going to resolve pulling a victim into the mirror dimension. And the way that works is you're going to determine the closest victim in our dimension to the Slayer. In this case, it would be this one, because it's only 2 spaces away. Let's assume this one hadn't been here for a moment, though. We see that this space, and this space are all equal. You'd go with the one that had the most, and so it'd be choosing between these two here at 3 spaces each. But let's just go ahead and do this the way it's supposed to be. What's going to happen is the closest one is going to come in to the mirror dimension. You're going to replace it with one of these. If there isn't any of these left when you are performing this action, then instead you're going to kill the furthest mirror dimension victim from the Slayer, increasing bloodlust as normal, and then you're going to use that then to switch out for the one that's closest there. If the victim that's closest is a special victim, you would simply move their marker down to the mirror dimension on here. And then after they've pulled in, you'll then roll for them to panic. And so 2 to 3, you would move over here is how you'd resolve that. Now, if no victim is pulled into the mirror dimension because there are no regular victims left on the board, then you would simply increase bloodlust. Now, we will be using open a rift card in order to go into the mirror dimension. Notice that on no successes, you can still enter and lose a heart in 2 time, or you can simply end your turn. If you get 1 success, then you'll spend a time and you'll go into the mirror dimension. On 2 successes, you'll go into the mirror dimension, and it won't cost any time there. And you can always bring any special victims on your space with you when resolving that. As I mentioned earlier, you can come out of the mirror dimension anytime you want to, except in the middle of performing an action. By simply choosing to do it, you don't have to play any cards or do anything in order to do that. And any victims will follow you, including special victims. Now, if you are in the mirror dimension during the upkeep phase, you will lose a heart for that. And so you want to come out of the mirror dimension into our dimension before the end of your action phase. Now, you may decide to stay in there and it costs a heart because you don't want to have to play another open a rift card to get back in later, and there's more you want to do in the mirror dimension. Or you may wind up in a situation where you have an end your turn action. Like if you fail a sprint and choose to move anyway, you'll end your turn. If you get 1 or no successes on a Furious Strike, you'll end your turn. Come down here, end your turn. Then you will be forced at that point to stay in the mirror dimension and lose a heart. So something to keep in mind when you are in the mirror dimension. Now to attack the Slayer, you must be in the same dimension to perform actions or use items that deal damage, with the exception of if you're playing something like a Retaliate card as a reaction that does damage when you're being attacked by the Slayer, then you can go ahead and play those and do damage that way. But you can't just play an attack card against the Slayer or use items against him when you're not in his dimension. Now, as far as targeting goes, the Slayer has a mental connection with you and can sense you regardless of which dimension you are in, but it can only sense victims in the mirror dimension. So if it has a Slayer target, it will come after you no matter which dimension you are in. If it has a Slayer meeple target, a Slayer victim target, then you will go ahead and see who's closest and target that person. If the Slayer is attacking on a space with only you and other victims in our dimension, the Slayer will attack you, ignoring the victims in our dimension. When targeting victims, it will target the closest mirror dimension victim. If there are none, it will instead resolve the pulling a victim into the mirror dimension action and then ignore the rest of that particular killer action, but will continue to resolve the rest of the terror card if there are additional effects. During the panic phase, you do not panic victims in our dimension unless the interdimensional Rift Collapse Valley card is in play. For example, if the Slayer were here with these victims and had killed a victim on his turn, these ones would not panic. If this one was here as well, this one would panic, but the yellow ones would not. And that is how you play against the Slayer. Let's go ahead now over Falconwood. For Falconwood, you're going to set aside the Survive the Hunt Terror card. It will only be used if you're playing the Survive the Hunt mission, and it tells you how to deal with that. We're not going to be playing that mission, so we're setting it completely aside for this game. And then you'll follow the setup rules for your mission. You're always going to have a mission that you have to complete before you can take out the killer. You can get him down to his final health, but any extra damage that would be dealt to him would be lost. You cannot take out his final health until you complete your mission. Before normal setup, you're going to randomly select a mission and follow the setup instructions on that mission sheet. And we're going to be playing Missing Friend as our mission this time around. And so for it, you're going to have these mission tokens here. There are these additional ones that have the same back that are blank. You will not be using this for Missing Friend. They do come into play for some of the other missions. You're also going to place the Best Friend aside and the spell book as well as this little Missing Friend reference card here. It's going to tell you some important information. Then you're going to shuffle up these 6 mission tokens and randomly place one face down in each of the 6 namespaces that are not search spaces. So let's go ahead and put one in the Best Friend's house, one in Fanghorn Forest, one in the school, one in the community pool, one in the town fair, and one at the library. And if you'll notice that they have these different things on the other side of them, for this game we're only going to be paying attention to the number-letter combinations. For some of the missions, you're going to be focusing just on the numbers down here at the bottom. For other ones, you're just going to use them as keys. Each mission will tell you how you'll be using those there. Now, when you end your movement on a space with one of these mission tokens on it, you can spend 1 time in order to reveal the token. The token will have a letter A, B, or C with a number 1 or 2 next to it. The token reference card will explain what each letter number combination means. If you reveal a token with a letter that has been previously placed on the sheet, you'll simply discard it. If it has a letter that you haven't already revealed, you'll place it on A, B, or C, and it's going to give you a hint as to where the missing friend is. Once you found A, B, and C, you'll be able to combine all that information to know which space the friend is on. At that point, you will place that friend out on whatever space it happened to be. Let's say it was the government lab. You place them on their side like that, and then they're going to stay that way until you get to them and spend an action card that recovers health, such as a short rest or long rest or meditation, whatever card that can regain health, you'll discard that. To revive the best friend, you'll stand the meeple up, or as I'm doing them on here, just kind of flat like that, and you'll complete the mission. The best friend will now be available, and you'll take the spellbook mission card, and the horror is going to go down to 0 for this particular rescue mission. And then she has a special ability. While she is in your space, horror levels cannot go up for any reason, but if the best friend is killed, it's going to go up 4 levels on the horror. So you want to make sure she doesn't die. Some cards may have you gain progress, which in this case will be to reveal one of these and if it's a letter you haven't already gotten, you'd put it on there. If it's a letter you've already received, you simply discard it. Or losing progress, you would return one of the mission tokens on the sheet back to the location board in the space furthest from you. So that's how Missing Friend mission is going to work. Now, some of the other rules for Falconwood include the fact that you have these different bridges. They're going to be normal ways of crossing, but there are different cards that are going to reference bridges. So that's what they'll be referencing there. You also have these river crossings, which are these faint lines here that normally you cannot cross those, but there are some items that allow you to do that, as well as some events that allow you to cross those for a certain amount of time. And so at that point, you'll be able to cross those, but the killer can never cross these little river crossing areas, and they are never considered adjacent for anything that calls for something to be adjacent there. We've already gone over the mission setup. In order to be able to do the final damage to the killer, you do have to complete your mission first. And these special victims represent friends. When you complete a mission, a friend will join you to help you defeat the killer. They are considered special victims, but also have 3 important differences. Friends will follow you into the killer's space. Other victims in the same space as a friend will be attacked before friends are attacked, and friends will not panic if they are in your space. We also have this 20-sided die, which is going to be resolving certain effects throughout the game. And that is how you play against the Slayer and Falcon. Let's go ahead and jump right on in to playing, and let's go ahead and start out with a focus card, because I want to start getting that horror down a little bit. Oh, let's resolve an event first. Forgot to resolve the starting event almost. A game of chance. Choose how many dice you want to roll, max of 6. Roll them along with the 20-sided die. If the total value of the die results is less than or equal to the value on this, horror is going to go up 2. If the total is greater than the value on that, apply the following effects based on how many dice you use. If you use 6 dice, time is going to go down twice. 5 dice, time will go down once. 4, it'll go up once. 3, it'll go up 3 times. 2, the horror will go down 3 times. And we can get the horror down 6 times with 1 die. Let's go ahead and take a risk. We're going to roll 2 dice. They have to be higher than whatever we roll on the 20-sided die. Wow, that did not work out. We got a 20, and we got 3 and 2. So we are going to lose 2 horror right off the bat. And then that gets discarded. That was not being solved unless we rolled a bunch of dice. So, well, that's going to change things a little bit, because I don't even know if I want to roll a focus in the moment with where we're at. So what I am going to do is I'm just going to stop and get 2 distractions for 6 time, because that is needing to be dealt with. And actually, before I even do that, I'm going to discard short rest and weak attack to get 2 close calls, because I can get 2 time before we go into the buy phase. So he's going to pull. So first of all, he's going to resolve pulling the closest victim in, and then he doesn't go anywhere. He's going to kill anybody in his space, but there's nobody in his space. And then on to the terror card. Oh, and this guy is supposed to be back on here. Retreat, retreat. Place the killer in your space. Well, this is already starting out rough. Roll the 20-sided die 3 times and do the following for each result. 1 through 6, he's going to attack me for 2. 7 through 20, no effect. And if we're not attacked, the bloodlust is going to go up. So 1, he is going to attack me for 2. 6, he's going to attack me for 2. Well, this could be the quickest game of Final Girl I've ever played. 10, he will not attack me. We're down to our last health. This is going to be a fun round. Well, at least we have 2 dice now to resolve our focuses and distractions and all that stuff. So let's roll 2 dice with the distraction. It's going to go up twice, and horror is going to go down twice. Now we have 3 dice to roll our next distraction. It's definitely the most interesting start I've ever had. Okay, we can discard. What do we want to discard? Discard 2 cards, it's going to go down once. If I discard 4 cards, it'll go down twice. I'm tempted to discard 4 cards and just get a bunch of time that way. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to discard 2 focuses and 2 close calls. So we're going to go 1, 2, and we get 2 time. I've got to walk. I am tempted to resolve the walk. No, I'm just going to hold on to them. Because I can get a retaliate for 4. Let's go ahead and do a double up for 2. An open a rift for 2. And a sprint for 2. And these weak attacks and short rest are going to come back. Okay, so he's going to pull in the closest victim. That's going to be this one. And then he is going to attack this one. Bloodlust goes up 1. This place is dark and cold. If there are no victims on the board, discard and draw the next tarot card. There are. Otherwise, if there are special victims in our dimension, then resolve pulling them in, the furthest special victim. There's no special victims. And then the next one here is going to move towards a victim and attack. It has a movement of 2 still. 1, 2, and attack. Bloodlust goes up 1. Horror goes up 1. We are already starting off poorly. Let's go ahead and open a rift. Rolling 3 dice still. Got 1 success. Means it's going to cost us 1 time, and we're going to go into the mirror dimension. I'm going to sprint. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and get rid of weak attack and short rest. To go 1, 2, 3 to here. Cost me 1 time. I'm going to spend a time to resolve this. So A1 is going to be east of the river. East of the river is our first hint there. And then I'm going to walk 1 space into here. I'm going to come out of the mirror dimension. I'm going to save these 2 people. So I'm just going to add them back to this pool and add these over here. Horror is going to come down 1. Kind of feel like moving a space to there. Okay, so this has been kind of a rough start, but also things are starting to look up. Tempted to do 1 more walk. Let's do 1 more walk. 2 successes. So we move 1 into here. We're going to rescue these 2 victims. It means take a guard card and get a heart back. And reveal our power. By the way, her rescue items were to decrease the horror, move 1 space, take a guard, and gain a heart. And then Janelle's ultimate ability is placing a tracker marker on the 0 value, and then after resolving a failure result on a horror roll or saving an extra victim, then you'll move this down. And when you do an attack, you can then spend all of wherever it's at to do that much additional damage. So if we get all the way up here, we can do an extra 5 damage, and then you move the marker back to 0 when resolving that. So that's kind of a pretty powerful ability there. By the way, we started on 4 for the horror. We actually started on 5 for the horror now that I think about it. So we should actually be there. Oh well. And then he has 11 health here. Let's go ahead at this point and figure out what we're going to do next. Well, we're done now because all we have is retaliate and double up. Oh, we lost 1 more time for the walk there. We have 2 time to spend. Oh, we had 1 more movement still. We'll move over to the shopping mall. There's a flamethrower at the shopping mall, a shock stick at the police station, and first aid kit at the government lab. We're going to get these back for sure. Oh, I was supposed to get that guard card. Let's go ahead and get a search. While we're up here, let's search. Okay, so he is going to pull in the closest victim. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Yeah, that's more than 3. It's going to be one of these 2. And let's just go ahead and do the one up here in the corner. So, boom, like that. And then he has no movement for his default action, his attack. So let's go ahead and see what the tarot card does now. The sky turned black. If there are no victims in the mirror dimension, there's 1 in the mirror dimension. We would have discarded this card and said panic all victims in the mirror dimension. And I forgot to panic these when they first... The one that was here, let's see what would have happened to him. He would have actually gone here. He actually wouldn't have been able to reach him. Oh well. And then now let's panic this one. I mean, I guess technically, do we remedy that situation? Because he had a movement of 2, wouldn't have been able to get to him. I forgot to panic the victims when they came in. So that's actually the situation we're in. Then we're panicking all victims in the mirror universe. So let's start with this one. He's going to go 4, which is coming straight to him. He's going to die soon anyway, so there we go. And 1, he goes nowhere. And then any victims in Slayer space or an adjacent space are killed. So he's going to die right now anyway, so... Oh, that should have been here. Now it's there. Did it the wrong direction. Okay, we resolved everything retroactively. Nothing would have changed except for a short while there I would have been rolling an extra die. Okay, let's go ahead into our phase now. Let's go ahead and do a focus, try and get it down into rolling 3 dice. 1 and 1. Now let's search with 3 dice. 2 successes. We can look at the top 2 cards of the shopping mall. We got the Flamethrower or Dragon's Breath. Dragon's Breath you can use to deal damage by discarding it for 3 damage to an enemy in your space or an adjacent space. Flamethrower is going to take out half of its health. Maybe use once per action phase to deal damage equal to half the killer's current health rounded down or to kill all minions in your space. I guess we'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to leave that on top though because I might come back for it after we're done with this. Who knows? While we have this, we can't have any other items in our backpack. Now, let's go ahead and resolve another focus while we're at it. Search brought that down 1. And focus down 1, that down 1. Now we're going to get all these cards back, and we have 3 to spend. So let's go ahead and get a close call and a sprint. We need to start moving around. Okay, he's going to pull this victim into the mirror dimension. And then it's going to panic. 1. So he doesn't go anywhere. Now resolve a terror card. Interdimensional interference. When you lose a heart from opening a rift or from being in the mirror dimension during the upkeep phase, lose an additional heart. Okay, so we do not want to be losing hearts through being in the mirror dimension or going into the mirror dimension. So let's go ahead and short rest because I'm nervous about this health situation. I have to get rid of 2 cards, weak attack and walk, I guess. Take that as success and get 1 heart and lose a time. Now let's go ahead and sprint. 2 successes. I only needed 1 success. 1, 2. Lose a time. And then we're going to spend a time to look at this. B2. So we know that it's on the east of the river, and we know from B2 that it's South Falconwood. Just find C, we'll be good to go. Have a walk. I could do that. Best case scenario, we wind up in here. Yeah, let's go for it. Let's go for it. Walk. I forgot to put these 2 up here. No successes. I guess we lose a heart. No. Oh, well, yeah. So we're going to lose a heart, lose 2 time, move 1 space, resolved one of these, and so our tracker goes to the +1, and I guess we just get a move on. We can't do a lot of stuff. Let's discard a close call to get an extra time, and we're going to get a sprint for 2, and the focuses are going to come back. So he is going to pull in the closest victim. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 5. It's going to be either of these sections. Let's just go ahead and pull this one, I guess. And then resolve a terror card. And people are disappearing. So we're going to resolve that again. Just go ahead and keep piling them up from there. Then it's going to move towards the closest victim or final girl. This is going to be the closest. And boom. Bloodlust goes up. And then horror is going to go up 1. Let's go ahead and sprint and hope for the best here. Okay, we got 1 success. Means we can go 1. Let's go 1, 2 to here. Costs us 1 time. And then we're going to spend a time to reveal this token, which is B1. We discard that one. Let's go ahead and focus to keep our horror down. 1 and 1. We're going to get all these cards back. I'm going to get a sprint and a close call for my 3 time. Closest one, let's just keep it going. New card says, I saw them leaving the makeout closet. Place 2 victims at the school. And then an event card. Lose 2 time when crossing a bridge. So let's go ahead and sprint. 1 free dice. Got 1 success. I'm going to go ahead and turn it into 2 successes by getting rid of our focuses. Or, no, focus and weak attack. To be able to go 1. Oh, well, this has to stay behind. Save these 2 victims. This is going to go up twice. 2, 3. We are going to reveal this one for a time. And sprint took a time. A2, also no good. So these are both C. We just have to get to one of those, and then we'll know. And we already know it's going to be east of the river, which is going to be this side, so we're going to go back there and come back. And it's going to be South Falconwood. Okay, so at 4 time, I want to go ahead and get an Open a Rift card for 2. Oh, wait, no, let's not do that yet. Let's go ahead and do a short rest. One success. Let's go ahead and make that 2 successes by getting rid of... Let's get rid of a walk and a close call. Make that 2 successes. We get 2 of these back. Now we're going to get Open a Rift for 2, Sprint for 2, and Focus comes back. Okay, so we are now going to resolve this. It means one of these ones is going to become that. He's going to panic. And I didn't panic any of those. Let's see where they would be. 6, 5, and 4. 6 and 5 are going to be there. 4 is going to be there. Panic that guy. He's going to come there. Nobody in his space. The indecision's bugging me. Choose one. Lose progress on the mission. Or discard a random item card. Or have the horror come down twice. If we lose progress on the mission, it's going to go to the furthest space from me. Which means... see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like that or that are the furthest ones from me. It's actually not that bad if I just throw it up in that space there. You kind of have to get up there anyway, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, actually 7. That's the furthest space from me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, it's also 6. We'll go that way. Let's just go ahead and say it's that one. And why not? So, boom. And then we do an event. Pizza delivery. Place the van token in your space. The token may move with you except over river crossings. As long as the van remains with you for the entire movement, 1 additional victim may follow you. And you get +2 movement and resolving actions that provide movement. However, your first movement must be panicked. That's pretty good, actually. Okay, so let's go into our turn. And let's go ahead and sprint. Now open a rift. Two. So it just opens up. And then let's go ahead and sprint. If only we could be that lucky with this. We are. Nice. So we lose a time for sprinting. And we can move an extra space. Our first movement is panicked. Extra 2 spaces we move, sorry. So first one is panicked. It's going to come here. That's 1 movement. We have 4 more movement to go. 2. No, wait. 2. 3. 4. We're actually going to stop there, though. We want to save all these people. Losing 1 of the movements, fine. We're going to save all 3 of these victims, which means we go up to the max on there. And we also cleared out a lot of those guys before we start increasing bloodlust and killing people randomly. Let's go ahead and do a walk. We got 1 success. We can make it 2. I'm just going to leave it as 1. We lose a time. Our first movement is panicked. So 3. It's going to come this way. And then we get 3 movement thanks to the van still, right? No, well, we had 1. 2 more movement thanks to the van. 1, 2 to there. And we're going to come out of the mirror dimension. We're going to then buy a sprint for 2 and 2 close calls and get these back. Okay, this one is going to turn into one of these victims. We're going to roll a die. He's going to go 3 to 4 here. Run up that hill. He's coming after me with 2 boots, so he's got 6 movement. Didn't even need but 1, 2, 3, 4 movement. He's going to attack me. I'm going to go ahead and retaliate. Oh, I had 1 too many cards I grabbed. I will not have grabbed the short rest, I guess. So we're going to retaliate, rolling 3 dice. And so we block 2 damage, which is fine, and we do 1 damage. Part of me wants to try for getting rid of that thing completely. Nah, it's fine. I don't want to waste the cards. I'd have to get a close call and get lucky. Not going to worry about it. So 1 damage to him. Horror goes up 1. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away from where we need to be. Let's go ahead and do a sprint. Let's go ahead and discard a focus and a weak attack to make that a success. Our first movement is panicked. 1 means we don't actually move with our first movement. Then we go ahead and get 4 more movement. 3 for the sprint, and we got extra 2 movement for the van, which becomes just 1 extra movement because we had to stay there. So we got 1, 2, 3, and 4. No, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah, we get there. So that cost us 1 time to sprint. We're going to spend 2 time to pick up both of these, which we got B2. We already knew what that one was, and C2. So C2 tells us it's last in alphabetical order. Oh, and when we crossed the bridge, it cost us 2 time. So last in alphabetical order. So it's going to be east. It's going to be south. And so it's going to be community pool or town fair. Last in alphabetical order is town fair. So boom right there. On her side. Gaining the spell book. No, we don't gain it yet because we haven't gotten to her. That means I need to do something about that guy with the flamethrower before I save her. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. Let's go ahead and do a focus, see what happens. Get rid of 2 cards. Time will come up 2, and that'll come down 1. Let's get rid of walk and close call. Time comes up twice, and that comes down once. We got 3 to spend. We're going to get walk and short rest back, and we have 3 more. We could open a rift, and that's all we can afford. So this person is going to get targeted with this ability. It's going to panic. Nowhere. It came through the wall. Targeting either the final girl or a victim. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 from us. 1, 2, 3 from them. 1, 2 from them. It's actually going to come here. This guy is going to die. Bloodlust goes up 1. It would get a heart back, but it doesn't gain a heart. I wonder if it... I don't know. I think it might gain 1 there. And then horror is going to come up 1. Now, I'm pretty sure the best friend isn't active yet, so it's not going to be able to target her. The enemies and all effects ignore the best friend while it's on its side, so that one's not going to get targeted, luckily. These. Go ahead and walk. Start heading that way, at least. One success can become 2 successes. Let's do it. to lose a time and move 4 spaces, with the first one being panicked. 5. So we're moving away from, oh, that's going to go away now. So we're moving away from the situation. 1, 2, 3, 4. You get all these cards back. I'm going to do a close call for 1. And a furious, no, and get a couple sprints. Okay, nearest victim. There's none on the board that can actually be targeted right now because this one's not targeted. So instead, this one's going to die. Bloodlust goes up. No, nobody dies. That's right. Just bloodlust goes up. Mind control. During the upkeep phase, all victims in the mirror dimension move 1 space towards the Slayer. Code blue. Targeting the nearest final girl or victim, moving 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. And then it's going to attack twice. With an attack of 3. Let's go ahead. I almost feel like letting the first one happen. No, I don't want to let the first one happen. Let's just guard. So I reduce it by 2, or I can get rid of 2 cards. Let's go ahead and get rid of 2 cards. Weak attack and focus to reduce all damage. And then I'm going to play double up, which means pay the cost of an action card you just resolved to return it to your hand. So we're going to pay 2 for that. Then you're going to attack me a second time. And we have to get rid of 2 cards just to keep the guard working for us. Let's do walk and focus. To make 1 success, and we take 1 damage. In this situation, I'd rather keep the walk than the sprint. It's a weird niche situation where I prefer the walk over the sprint. We're going to reveal this during the upkeep phase. It's going to be pulling somebody in, walking, and then doing 2 attack. Let's finish this. We're also going to panic victims. Mirror dimension victims. Oh, I know, they move. They don't panic. They move 1 space closer. So boom and boom. Go ahead and walk. And this is the reason I kept the walk. I only want 1 movement over here. And the fail conditions are much more generous for the walk than the sprint. I got plenty anyway. Go ahead and roll, because I think I do still want to keep this with me. It's going to go here. 1, 2, 3, like that is where I want to be. And then from that space, I'm going to use the flamethrower. It's got 11, 12, 13 health. So we're going to do 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Like that. That goes away. Sorry, before that, I had to do the open a rift. The reason why I had to open the rift. So we're going to open a rift first, see what happens. It's fine. Get rid of sprint and close call. Cost me 1 time to open the rift. I got rid of focus and close call, I mean. So the rift was open, then I did that. And I'm not going to sprint right now, because I actually still want to be here. Oh, wait, that's 0 to 1. I actually could have done that from that location. Oh, well. I could have taken full advantage of my movement. I'm going to get these cards back. Get a close call. So I'm moving back into there before I end my turn. And let's get an open the rift, because we're going to need it at some point. Okay, he's going to target the space that has the most victims out of these because they're tied. And then he's going to take out 2 people. Horror is going to go up 1. That's going to go up. Oh, and because he couldn't pull anybody in, Bloodlust would have also gone up for that. He gains a heart back. Okay, I'm going to go open a rift again. So opening a rift. Let's just spend the time to open the rift. We're going to walk, and I'm going to do it with, I'll do it with the thing still. That's fine. And lose a heart 2 times to come here. Well, first move is Straight to there. And then I'm going to spend the other one of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to do 4 damage. 2, 3, 4. I'm going to come out of the rift, and I'm going to sprint. Let's go ahead and do that since I don't know where my first movement is going to be. Panic for the first movement. It's going to be 3. So 1. 2 is the movement for the van, and then 1, 2, 3 to there. Oh, I just got rid of my rest card. That's not good. Okay, so on my turn, I'm going to get a close call and open a rift or guard. Let's get a close call and a guard. And all these back. He's just going to basically just kill this guy and increase bloodlust. So bloodlust goes up twice, 4 comes down 1. I may have been rolling an extra die there. So on this turn, he's going to be moving 4 towards me. 1, 2, 3, 4. He can get to me. I've got 1 guard. I'm going to get these back. I'm going to want to retaliate for 4. Open a rift for 2. No, instead of open a rift, I'm going to get double up for 2. So I retaliate, and I have a guard. Oh wait, this is out of the game now. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to attack twice. Both of them are on me because the friend isn't yet in play. I'm going to use retaliate. Rolling 2 dice. 2 successes. Completely defends. And then he's going to attack again. Oh, and completely defends and takes 2 damage. And then I'm going to go ahead and play the double up card. 1, 2, 3, 4. To use retaliate again. Or do I want to just use my other guard? No, I'm just going to use my other guard. I'm not going to do that, actually. Use the other guard. Close call is going to cost me 2 to reroll both of these. Or no, actually no. Let's not do that. Let's use close call just to reroll this one. Okay, so we need to get rid of 4 cards to completely not do any damage. 2 focuses, a weak attack, and a walk. That works. No damage. 6 times still to spend. Before I go into that turn, I'm going to discard a short rest. This person is now in play, and I get the spell book. I'm going to buy a guard card for 2, open a rift for 2, and I just really need a close call. Oh, that's coming down to 0 from when we saved them. So they are going to attack. I am going to guard the first attack. Well, we have 3 dice. 1 success. I gotta get rid of close call and walk, I think. No, I don't want to get rid of walk. Close call and double up. So completely guarded. Second attack I'm going to let just happen to this person. Horror is going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4 times. But that's okay. So I'm going to walk 1 space. I'm going to open a rift. Did no damage to me. I'm now in there. I'm going to discard during the action phase. Roll this die. 20 does 8 damage to this guy. He only needed 2. And he's dead. So there you go. That is how you play Falconwood against the Slayer. Hope you've enjoyed this video. There were a few mistakes along the way where I forgot to panic a few people, and I may have rolled an extra die for a couple of those rolls that one turn. But you get the gist of how to play this game. Spellbook can be very powerful, especially when you roll a 20 on the d20 there. And everything worked out, although it was pretty close there at the end. Anyway, I hope you have a great week and keep on gaming.